Ladies and gentlemen, I have finally played a Telltale series game. Find out more on my thoughts on Tales of the Borderlands shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Thursday's episode of Improv Gaming.
Welcome to Thursday's episode.
Did you introduce us last episode?
No, I did not.
I don't think you did. I don't think you did.
I pulled a Nick.
Yeah, you pulled a Nick. Very clearly pulled a Nick. Ladies and gentlemen, I finally have played a Telltale series, and I'm going to tell you my thoughts.
Well, let's be clear. You played episode 1.
I played episode 1. I didn't play an entire series. I played episode 1. I played Tales of the Borderlands.
Great game.
If you know the game, I am at the Museum of Curiosity.
You're very early.
Very early in the game. Very, very early in the game.
See, you can't.
No, yes, I can. Yes, I can. Because everything that I have said about Telltale's games is absolutely 110% true. I've never played the games, and based off of what I saw when it came to how fast they were able to produce these games, how many games they were able to produce, and everybody was talking about how the quality was still the same, I was like, clearly, this is a skin swap. All they're doing is swapping skins. And I can tell very much that they have taken the very easy route of developing video games. And I am not a fan. Even though I have taken a very easy route in editing videos. They have taken a very easy route. And the reason I can tell that just by a little bit that I've played is by looking at the skeleton structure of these characters and seeing how it is that they pivot their heads, the way that it is that their mouths move when they talk, the way that it is that they interact with the world and that they move around the world, right? Not outside of me playing the game, outside of any interaction that I have to have, the way that these characters turn their bodies tells me very much that they're not actually grounded in the real world. They're hovering over the real world, or the world that they're in, right? It's an individual that sits there and can glide across and turns like that, right? It's just a rig that brings them around. Okay, I get that. That's probably what you're getting in most video games. But the inattentiveness to detail, where I can see a scene where the guy is floating like he's a creepy fucking horror ghost, it's off-putting, right? The way that he pivots his head like a puppet of some type, like a robot. It's very off-putting, right? The way that the interaction between him and his buddies, or him in the real world, just all that type of stuff. I was like, all right, this is clearly skin swapping. This is all that they're doing. This is all that they're able to achieve, and that's why they're able to push these things out over and over and over again, right? When I have to swipe left in order to hit this thing with my shield, and I have to swipe right, and he shoots it with a grenade launcher, I was like, all right, this is very basic controls. There is not much to it. It's clearly exactly what I thought it would be, and the narrative at this point doesn't matter to me, right? And the reason why the narrative doesn't matter to me is because I've spent all this time, right, and maybe this is shame on Nick, I spent all this time looking at what they were doing from the outside and going, I know exactly how they're doing it. I know exactly how they're able to get these many titles out much quicker than any other indie developer out there, much quicker than AAA developers that are out there, right? They're doing, 3-4 titles a year? A AAA developer can barely manage one, right? Ubisoft can barely manage getting one out every year, right? That's quality, right? But they're consistently putting out the same quality, and people appreciate their quality. And I'm just like, none of this makes any sense unless they're skin swapping. Unless it's the same rigs, they're skin swapping the same rigs. I feel like if I were to play another Telltale game, I would be very, very, very fucking insulted to see the same exact scene with different characters. And I can tell that that's going to happen. I know just by playing this, that will definitely fucking happen. If there is a scene in The Walking Dead where I'm driving in a car and I hit something and spin out, I'm going to be very angry. Because of the fact that now I know for a fact that they did the same exact thing before. I know that for a fact. I know for a fact that this is just a copy and pasted scene, and they're just moving it around, right? Every game seems to be a little quirky, right? Like if I see a scene where the protagonist or the main character is fighting three guys and hits them with the baton at certain prompt intervals, and it looks exactly like what I just fucking saw, then I know exactly what they're doing, and I'm not a fan, and I'm not going to support that. Right? This is a principle thing. I don't care about the narrative. I don't care about the book that you wrote. I'm here for video games. I'm here to see something new. The reason why I always used to be a huge fan of like CGI videos or movies, I should say, like your Shreks, your Toy Stories, your Up, things like that, was because for a very long time, every new movie brought something new. Right? There was something new. Toy Story pioneered the way that we look at CGI in terms of feature-length films, right? It was very basic stuff, but at the time it was very difficult to accomplish, right? Monsters, Inc. pioneered using space in a different way, right? Like opening a door leads to a different space, right? That was all done inside of a 3D program. That wasn't After Effects or post-production. That was in the program. Where you open a door and the existing area behind this is another room that they actually walk into, right? Another 3D room that was rendered in that area, right? So like Portal was very much like that. I can shoot a wall here, shoot a wall here. It was a pioneering technology. They were trying something different, and they were trying to get it to work, and they couldn't get it to work for a long time until they started to work with Valve, and they were able to finally get it work very, very nice and smooth. But Telltale isn't bringing anything to the table, and that's my biggest gripe, and that has been my biggest gripe with Telltale, right? The reason family sitcoms aren't a big thing anymore, where everybody's talking about the new family sitcom, is because it's gotten bland. It's the same shit that we've seen for 20 years. We no longer want to see that same laugh track nonsense, right? There's plenty of people out there that do want to see that laugh track nonsense, but, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but How I Met Your Mother didn't have a laugh track. Big Bang Theory has a laugh track, right? Modern Family has a laugh track, right? These are shows that I don't want to be cued when I'm supposed to laugh. It's supposed to just be funny, right? How I Met Your Mother, I don't remember ever hearing a laugh track, except unless they were parodying something. But it was never a laugh track on How I Met Your Mother. It was just some funny shit.
Yeah.
So I don't want to. My biggest gripe with Telltale is I don't want them to stagnate the industry in this kind of a realm where we're not getting anything new. Now, last episode you talked about Life is Strange. They're doing something a little new with clapbacks. I want to call it clapbacks for the rest of my life. But they're also doing something when it comes to music and storytelling. They're doing something when and the first one was, correct me if I'm wrong, Life is Strange is the one where you rewind time.
Yes.
All right, so they were doing something different with like kind of rewinding time and going back and seeing if you can affect the story that way. I don't know if that's the same thing in this one.
No,
they didn't do that time thing, right?
Max was in control of the time.
She wasn't in control of it. Okay. So there's a lot of things that they're doing with Life is Strange that Telltale isn't doing with the Telltale series. So I can appreciate something like that. Even when Telltale first started, really, and Firestorm. Was it Firestorm? No. Firewatch?
Firewatch is not Telltale.
I know it's not. But Firewatch came out, and it was doing the same-isk thing. Not really a action-based video game. It's more about telling a story, and they did it in a different way than Telltale was doing it. Mm-hmm. Right? It inspired other people to do different types of things, right? Yeah, What 100%. Remains of Edith Finch is very much like Firewatch. It's got that kind of a narrative to it. What's the other one? The one based on the space station one. Tacoma is very much they're putting a new spin on this walking simulator kind of thing, where it's like, okay, there's still stuff going on over there, so you can rewind and go back and find out what happened to these people. You can go find out what happened to these people when they broke away from the censor. It's a different dimension to storytelling, and I can appreciate that they're trying different dimensions of storytelling. But with Telltale, I cannot appreciate the mass production that's going into their process, constantly just churning out. And for lack of a better term, I'm going to call it garbage. That's what I'm going to call it. I'm just going to call it garbage because it's just churning out the same scenes over and over again with different skins on them. So from that little, and you tell me, you say, oh, Nick, you have to play more of the game. No, I understand that there's a story that needs to be followed. I'm excluding myself from the story purposefully because I need to see the game, right? Devil May Cry introduced juggling your opponents and introduced a score system based on how many opponents you can keep in the air at any given moment and how stylistic you were in your fight scenes when defeating those opponents, right? God of War introduced, not introduced, but heavily relied on QuickTime actions in order for you to play a scene out. Now, the graphic intensity of those QuickTime events made it interesting to stay in the loop with, right? Uncharted introduced seamless integration between cutscene and gameplay, and it did it so perfectly. Right? It did it so well where like you didn't even know if you were still in a cutscene or not at some times. I was like, wait, why is he moving? Oh shit, it's time to play. And that happened to me on Uncharted 4, knowing that I'm playing a game that does that type of shit. So these other games that are out there, and as much as I might rag on Uncharted, right? I think it's overrated, but at the same time, at least they were trying to do something different, something that kind of inspired other people around them to do something amazing. Telltale doesn't seem to be inspiring much of shit. They found a formula, it's working for them, and they're just churning it out like it's just a production line. Hey, yeah, we can do Guardians of the Galaxy, why not? I mean, it's just character design. Once we design the characters, we can do Guardians of the Galaxy for the next 10 years. Once we design the characters, we can do Batman for the next 10 years. Once we do, we can just introduce these fucking characters and throw them on a skeleton and have them go through the area. Like we could do Spider-Man. The moment that we start fucking doing web slinging as one of our mechanics, we can do Spider-Man. And we could do Spider-Man for the next 10 years because it's all fucking, to me, it's all very much like it's the same shit, just a different face on that rig that's there. So I got exactly what I expected out of Telltale, and I wasn't very happy with it.
Are you not going to finish it? I'm just asking.
I don't know, because here's all this time where I've been saying these things, and I'll give you something. At the time when I've said them, I'm like, maybe I'm not giving this enough credit. Maybe there's something that people are seeing that I'm not because I haven't played them. But now seeing it, it's like, go fuck yourself. Everybody that's like, no offense, Pete, I love you, but and I don't mean this to you specifically, but like if you're playing these games and you think like they're like these fantastic narratives, who gives a shit? Who really? Because there's plenty of other people giving you fantastic narratives with fantastic gameplay. Fucking astonishing narratives with fabulous gameplay, right? One of them being a game that I played after I played the Telltale stuff was Hellblade. Senua's Sacrifice. Very much a walking simulator for most part, right? Very much a discovery and narrative-driven game with very minimal combat influence. Fantastic fucking narrative. From the moment it starts, you're kind of like brought into this world. And you're just fucking, holy shit, what the fuck is going on here? I need to know what the fuck is going on in this world that they've created for me. With Telltale, it's like, oh, fucking, yeah, okay, Handsome Jack is dead, and this guy wants to be the next Handsome Jack. Okay, whatever. Like Borderlands, and the reason I picked to play Tales of the Borderlands is because I'm a huge Borderlands fan. I love Borderlands. I think it's fucking amazing. So I was like, all right, let me go with something I fucking love, because that's the only way I'm gonna stick with this. And I was going to go on to Game of Thrones because I wanted to watch Game of Thrones and then kind of see where this goes with Game of Thrones, in line with Game of Thrones, because I don't know if you know this, Pete, but I missed out on a lot of Game of Thrones. So I wanted to catch up with Game of Thrones, and I figured, by the time I'm done with like kind of my backlog and all that stuff, the next thing I'll play is the Game of Thrones stuff. No, I'm not even thinking about it anymore. I'm not thinking about any more Telltale shit. I don't care. I don't want to know about it. I don't understand how people could be so happy to get another Telltale. And again, Pete, no offense. I know you love your narratives. But there's a certain point where if narrative is too much of your influence in the story in storytelling in a game, then there's no more game. Now you're just giving me a fucking movie. And if you want to make movies, go somewhere else. Don't put it on my PlayStation. Let me put my own movies on my PlayStation. Don't try to feed me a video game as a movie or a movie as a video game. I can't deal with that. That's like the lowest bar of video game to me, where it's like, hey, here's a cinematic that you have to interact with. I don't need that. It's a whole game of Paragon choices, and I can't deal with that. I need gameplay in my video games, and walking around in an environment isn't one of those things. Or telling a machine to swipe left or swipe right isn't one of those things. Maybe I'll play it to see if there's anything else, but I'm pretty sure I hit the nail on the head. I'm pretty sure this character, whatever his name is, because I already forgot it, he wasn't that interesting to begin with, isn't going to pick up a gun like in Borderlands and start shooting from a first-person perspective like in Borderlands. What else is there? Like, are you controlling Batman when he flies in your Telltale games?
No.
Like Batman does? Why would you do that? There's nothing new, right? Are you fucking going to war with White Walkers and slashing their throats open in Game of Thrones? Like they do in Game of Thrones? No, you're just watching them do that stuff. So when I play a game that's based off of something that I am dear and near to, I want to experience what it is to be that person. Right? Can't do it if you're not letting me do it. All you're doing is just letting me watch another episode of Game of Thrones. What are you, out of your fucking mind? I'm trying to call that a video game. I cannot, in any sense of the word, condone that kind of behavior or that kind of publishing route at any sense. And that's like just a morality thing. Like, just back the fuck out of my video games and go do something else. Go produce for mobile if that's what you want to do. Produce for mobile and give that kind of watered down video game to the mobile market. Don't bring it to my PlayStation. That was some heated shit, right?
Where do you go through for that? No, I really hope you do give it more time.
I don't think it's going to change my mind.
I don't think it is.
I don't think it'll ever change my mind.
I think you'll be like, oh, that was a cool Tales of Borderlands story. I think you'll say it's a cool story, but I know you're not a story guy.
Give me a cinematic. Like, give me something else, right? Like for instance, right? The Fall of Reach, the Halo anime movie, right? Perfectly fine with shit like that. I don't need to play a game that's gonna like just have Master Chief run. That's just gonna have Master Chief doing Master Chief shit, and I can't participate in that. What's the point of that? There doesn't seem to be a point in that, right? Like, if they did a Telltale Devil May Cry game, I'd fucking lose my mind. Like, how far are we gonna drag Dante through the mud before we give him a real game? Like, are you out of your fucking mind? I just cannot condone that kind of publishing and that kind of development cycle. It for me, and no offense to the people at Telltale that work hard to make these things happen, right? I'm not discrediting them. But what I am saying is that there's probably 10% of the team left that originally started there because you no longer need to develop these massive worlds. All the rigs have been built. All you need is modelers. So you don't need the people that code the system. You don't need the people, right? You might need one coder to initiate new things, but you don't need those people anymore, especially if you've modularized your system to the point where you can take this code and put it inside of that framework, and all of a sudden it all works. And that's what they've done. So you're not even fucking employing the people that started this for you. And I can tell that just by your game. I can tell that just by how fast you're able to produce these games. all fucking more than 90% of your staff that started Telltale and brought it to where it is gone. They're out the door. You don't need to see them ever again because everything's already built for you. It's just plug and play. You're just Legoing your way into video games. I can't condone that. I'm sorry, Telltale, but I will never, ever condone you. And I probably won't even put you on the tag to this video. Just saying.
Remember, I will be doing a Twitch of Telltale's Walking Dead Season 3 this week. I think I'm going to change, on a sidebar, I just thought of this, and I should have probably said it earlier. I'm probably going to change my username for Twitch. It's no longer going to be Improv Cap.
What is it going to be?
The thing that makes the most sense.
Improv Pete 25? Improv Pete 25?
Just Improv Pete.
Well, that 25 is very confusing, Pete.
Yes. Everybody wonders what the 25 is. You'll never know.
I don't really care. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you saw, hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. And as always, hit that notification button to get the content as soon as it's out there. And no, I'm not introducing us because Pete didn't introduce us on Tuesday. So as always, ladies and gentlemen,
I'm